a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, welcome to the restricted section. But before we get started, boy, do I have a fun announcement for you. Hey, we are bringing a new podcast onto Deus Ex Media Podcast Network. That's right. My friend Josh over at Super Scary Podcast is now part of Deus Ex Media. Super Scary is a podcast about scary movies and superhero movies and some fun stuff in between, hosted by my beloved friend Josh, who is very interested in the subject matter despite being a bit of a weenie. Josh is a good friend of mine. Last summer, I worked at a local brewery, one of my favorite jobs I ever had. It was very low volume, and Josh was the events coordinator there. So he was not my boss, but he wasn't not my boss. Just a couple years younger than me. Both of us extremely confused. We made a great pair. And then when that brewery mysteriously closed one day, all right, it wasn't that mysterious, but they did close suddenly. Josh and I were like, can we still be friends? So, of course, here we are. I collect friends like some people collect rocks. I don't know, man. Josh, welcome to the podcast network. We're so excited to have you in the Deus Ex Media family. If you're unfamiliar with Super Scary, here's a little bit about it right now.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here. Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guest and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one Super Scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
Wonderful. If you're looking for a place to start, I've been on 2 episodes so far. The first one was They/Them. Can't recommend that one. The second one came out just a couple weeks ago, though. Josh and I together covered Ghost Rider, which is a Nicolas Cage film. So you know that one was a good time. A lot of the other restricted section regulars have been on the show. Like Leela went on to talk about, Wish Upon. Mary Clay has been on to talk about The Haunting of Hill House. That was a really wonderful episode that came out, I think, last week. So definitely give it a try. If you don't like scary movies, there's plenty of other stuff for you to listen to on Super Scary. Welcome to the restricted section, the Harry Potter podcast where I'm so fucking sick of Order of the Phoenix, and I'll remind you that I record these introductions ahead of time. It is August. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry. We did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Chapter 32, Out of the Fire. Harry has just seen a vision of Voldemort torturing Sirius in the Department of Mysteries, and it's probably totally real. Harry is, let's just say, screaming a lot about it. The kids come up with a plan to lure Umbridge out of her office so Harry can use her fireplace to see if Sirius is home at Grimmauld Place, because if he's not home, then he's probably being tortured by Voldemort in the Department of Mysteries. But it looks like Sirius is not home at Grimmauld Place, meaning that he's being tortured by Voldemort in the Department of Mysteries. And Umbridge catches the kids in the act of breaking into her office to check to see if Sirius is at home at Grimmauld Place. So desperate and cornered and like totally out of options, Hermione starts sobbing about how they have finished building Dumbledore's great weapon in the performance of a lifetime. Welcome to the restricted section where the greatest weapon of all is friendship.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Christina. My co-host today is the Vera to my serum, Andrew. Say hello to the listeners, Andrew.
Hi, everyone.
And our special guest today is you already used all my Veritaserum to the, wait, I'm lost in this. I'm lost. I was going to throw my
Pull out.
in there.
We can
back up. It's fine.
And our special guest today is the Vera to my serum, Jason. Say hello to the listeners, Jason.
Hi, it's me again.
It's me. How have you been since, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, just a guess.
Oh, jeez. I've been doing okay.
It's funny because Andrew and I see you like twice a week anyway.
Yeah. Yes, I've been doing okay recently. I don't want to go into what do I have coming up? Yeah, I don't really have anything coming up.
Guys, I said 6 months ago or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
We last recorded together exactly 6 months ago to the day.
Wait, what do you mean?
To the 5th. We last recorded. This is coming out on April 5th. We last recorded together on October 5th. 6 months to the day. If you fudge the math that comes from us releasing a week after we record. I was really right. That's what I'm getting at.
I believe you.
Awesome. Well, we're here to talk about Harry Potter. But before we do, I have a listener email. This is from our friend Fraser, and I forgot to check pronouns.
The Fraser?
Yeah, the Fraser.
Oh my god, I thought he was a fictional character.
Tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Do any of our listeners know that reference?
Probably.
They're young.
I think it's getting rebooted soon, so I think we're safe. They might see it on Paramount Plus. I don't know.
More topical than we thought.
Fraser's emailed us before. We read one of their emails about some other shit some other time. But here's what Fraser says today. Hey, really quick answer while I'm listening. Moleskin is like a super soft denim material. Weird fuzzy shit. I don't know if y'all remember, maybe last episode or the episode before, Hagrid is wearing a moleskin overcoat. Is that right? And we were like, the fuck is a moleskin?
Like the thing that notebooks are covered in?
See, that's the thing is those are covered in like leather.
Oh, not
So is it,
actual
like, leather?
moles?
Is it actual moles?
With Hagrid, I would believe that, yeah.
Well, but Fraser says that it's a super soft denim material.
Okay.
And to me, that doesn't mean comes from moles. But maybe it does. Fraser, we demand more information.
It's a cotton fabric.
Oh, okay. I guess we can do our own research. It's more fun to make the listeners do it.
Well, that's all I'm telling you then.
Okay, Fraser goes on. Well, and just for anyone who didn't listen or doesn't remember, Jason and Andrew,
Hey!
you know, Fred, just...
Layla was on an episode a few weeks back. I listened to that one.
Was it the punt one? Was it the punting one? Okay,
Oh,
so anyway.
dang it, I don't remember that.
Show your work, Jason. Show
No.
your work.
I'm trying my best.
When Fred and George leave Hogwarts, they leave a pond in the 5th floor corridor. The 5th floor. Oh my god! In the fifth floor
corridor.
I almost said chloroform. In the 5th floor chloroform.
The Cliff Chlorfordorf.
Yes, there.
10 points to
And
Chlorfordorf.
and Filch. I had to enunciate that so hard because it was too close to our joke sounds. It is tasked with punting kids across the lake pond. And we were like, punting. That really only means one thing here. But then we got to Googling it and we found that it means like a lot of things. It means like to divert something, or it means like a little boat, or like to get someone somewhere via the little boat. It meant like several things. Okay, so Fraser says, regarding punts, they are really popular little fishing boats with excellent naming potential. Mine is called Silly Punt, and a mate has one called Punt of a Thing. Just thought you'd appreciate the Australian use of that word. Cheers, Fraser.
That's pretty good.
Cheers, Frasier.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Toss salads and
Frasier also included in a follow-up something that we've always known, but we continue to make it a problem. And by we, I mean me. Frasier says, is it a rhotic R thing with the word horror? I kind of just say it as ara with an or on the end. I don't understand this Oh, no. Nope, I don't understand. That's too Australian for me. Oh, and then they go on to say that doesn't really come across in written text well. So we've always known that if you're British or Australian, horror sounds better. But
Hoorah.
here in America, where we say our R's so hard, unfortunately hard.
Unfortunately hard.
Yeah, that is what Daniel Radcliffe did to do a convincing American accent
That's what they all
in
do.
The Weird movie. Yep. Really leaning into those R's. But American English speakers do lean into their R's. So we kind of can't, like, it would be so forced for us to say aura. It would be the same as whenever someone talks about croissants and I'm like, it's pronounced croissant. And it's like, obviously, I'm the one being ridiculous in that situation.
I don't think either of you guys watched 30 Rock, but there's like a funny running joke where one of the actors on that show has been on a movie called The Rural Juror.
Juror.
Oh my God.
And it's just a running joke because no one can say it right.
I haven't seen that, but I feel like someone's explained that joke to me before, possibly even you.
It was possibly Leela as well.
So I think what we need to do is every time we come across the word horror, we need to go into a pretty heavy Australian accent.
Can do.
So Harry, you say you want to become an aura.
You don't want to become an aura. That's not a wand. This is a wand.
In the end, Harry Potter became an aura as his career. And remember, kids, all auras are bastards.
I would appreciate an Australian version of Harry Potter because then you'd get a lot of people calling him a silly cunt, and that would just be fantastic. Too.
You know, sometimes
Hey.
you need to be called one. Once in your
sure.
life.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What I want is a. Oh my God! What the fuck was the name of that guy's show? It's not what Crocodile.
Steve Irwin,
Yeah, what's the name of his show?
the crocodile.
The Hunter?
The Crocodile Hunter. That's what I want, but for Hagrid. All right, now, look at this beaut. You probably can't see them because they're invisible unless you've witnessed death, but I tell you, they're really there.
I love
His
it,
accent
especially
goes
with
away.
especially with the Steve Irwin shorts. Kind of like when Hagrid was like flipping stones
Yeah.
in Prisoner of
Yeah.
Azkaban. He shows off a little thigh.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and like you'd have a wonderful show because every episode would be the same. It would be some unbelievably dangerous, deadly creature that Hagrid is just gushing over, and a cameraman that can't keep the camera straight, right? Because they're like literally physically shaking because a ball of death is 10 feet away, and they're
No,
just like
Wizards
barely
have a
able to
thing.
keep
Wait,
it
so
together.
Wizards have a thing for video cameras, right? They have to at this point, right?
I can't possibly.
Not getting
respond
into
to
the.
that.
I don't want to get into nitty gritty of it. I was just
But
thinking
if
about
they
that.
did have a video camera, it would be all warped because I think they would have to do a shield around themselves, and then the camera would have to look through the shield at the blast-ended scroots or whatever.
Exactly.
Cool. So thanks so much for the email, Frasier. I love receiving emails, thoughtful Instagram messages from our listeners. You are welcome and invited and encouraged to email me. I read them all, even if I can't respond to them all. But I do really love knowing that people are listening to the show.
The heavy sigh. The heavy
actual
sigh sold it.
I'm like, oh, thank God someone's still listening. Frasier, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the email. Everyone send me your emails. Sometimes I gotta read something written by someone other than Mott's. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Last week was our 150th episode. We read a Mott's email. Today, Mott said, it's crazy that there's 150 episodes of this show. I wonder how many have had emails by me. And I was like, probably about half. my dude.
I was like, I think you know the answer to that question, Mods. Now you're just bragging.
I think he is the official restricted section correspondent at this point.
He's the lead of the fan club.
Yeah. Yes, because the lead of the fan club is a friend.
Do we make this official? Are we going to officially induct him as
indoctrinate?
Word choice of words.
Mott's.
It's too late for that.
Can we officially induct Mott's as the first president of the Induce? Make it official. Do you want to say a few words, Tina, about your new official fan club?
Well, let me see when he's on the show next, because it would be cooler to do it to his face. Oh no, it's not until November. I can't wait that long. I couldn't possibly remember something for 7 months. Dear Mott's, thank you for all of your emails. In light of your 3 years of volunteer service, we have decided to officially condone your volunteer service and celebrate you for it. So you are now by the powers invested in me, by the power vested in me. Is that what that is?
Andrew, don't you have actual power to like induct people into things?
Oh yeah, why don't you vest it, Andrew?
Well, I can marry people.
Wink. Wink. I'll marry your wife. Wink.
You must be there too, because that's how I roll. I could I could do it as a religious figure. I am an ordained minister. I could
just say wait, what's
with the powers vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia, I officially pronounce Mott's as the president of the restricted section fan club. A title.
Is that legal if he's not a United States citizen?
I don't think any of this has any legal bearing or anything. So I think, Tina, I think we're fine. I wonder
if the listeners who aren't in our Discord server, I wonder like who they think Mott's
Who the fuck is Mott's?
Like, what kind of a person he is.
He's a legendary figure.
Listeners, whatever you think, it's better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love you, Mott's.
Harry Potter.
Cool that we read Frasier's email and ended up giving Mott's an award for emails. Sorry, Frasier. Okay.
The previous winner was my former supervisor. But
okay. Chapter 32, Out of the Fire. It's kind of like Into the Fire.
Well,
but I get it. It's like
until the end.
I just remember,
there really wasn't much fire in this chapter. I was a little disappointed.
I remember in The Hobbit, I think there's 2 back-to-back chapters. The first one is titled Out of the Fire, and the second one is titled Into the Frying Pan. I'm pretty sure.
Sorry to correct you, but
Out of the Frying Pan into the
Fire. Out of the Frying Pan into the Fire is the name of one chapter.
Okay, so it's one chapter, and I said it backwards.
That's fine.
You're killing it, Tina.
No, guys, you don't have to tell me. I know it's cool to be wrong. I do it every single day of my life. It's part of my brand.
There's a Bruce Springsteen song called Out of Fire. That's a bad joke.
There's a what?
No, it was a bad joke. It didn't make sense.
Well, I barreled over your last joke, and then I was like, I forgot that I vowed to start making people explain their jokes.
You'll never know.
Okay, well, that's your choice, and that's fine. So, at the end of the last chapter, Harry Potter passed out in his history of magic owl. And this is not the first time that History of Magic has done this to Harry.
He does have a history of it.
He has a magical history of passing out during
Important
History of Magic.
Well, also just in general, right?
Definitely just in general, but I don't think he passes out in other classes. Unless he's, like, injured.
I think he falls asleep in divination a few times, right?
He falls asleep in divination and has a fit, and that's the one that Rita Skeeter like oversees. But he passes out because I remember maybe it was book 3 or 4. He passes out in History of Magic. No, it was Trelawney's. Oh fuck! I think he goes to Dumbledore and he's like, "I passed out in divination," and Dumbledore says, "Quite understandable."
Yeah, we've all been there.
Was that divination?
I think so, yeah.
I'm wondering.
So I'm full of shit. I've done nothing but spout lies since we got on this call.
No, I think canonically, he's passed out in both. Canonically.
Canan, like from the Bible.
Canonically.
The cellulose of canonically.
I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Cana. So it'd be canonically.
Okay.
Rolls off the tongue well.
Christina Kane.
Either way, I think he has fallen asleep in both of those classes on multiple occasions.
He's just not getting a nap, a good enough nap.
They're the only 2 classes which wouldn't directly influence whether or not he becomes an Auror, so they're the only 2 that...
We can sacrifice. Doesn't he fuck up both the tests?
He fucks up astronomy too, but it doesn't matter because who needs to be an astronomer to...
I do think it's fucking telling that you don't need to understand history to become a cop.
Yep.
Ooh.
You can literally fail your entire school career of history classes and become a cop.
You know how to make boom booms with your wand, you're hired.
Even in the most passing, we see what they do in History of Magic in such passing, but even what we learn seems to me to be important context for working in law enforcement.
Just a bit.
Whatever. It reflects us today. It's fine.
Speaking of history,
Harry simply abandons his standardized testing like a self-care queen.
do you think Madame Pomfrey just kind of has like a code word or like a code name for every time Harry Potter passes out? It's just like, just to be prepared. Just like, oh, he's done it again.
The snitch has broken its wing. I repeat, the snitch has broken its wing.
Yeah, I like that one.
We're going to be looking at it, assessing the damage.
Roger.
That's exactly the kind of nickname Harry would expect to be granted. Gotta take him down a peg.
The dodo's fallen out of the nest. I repeat, the dodo's fallen out of the nest.
No, be like, what's something like so lame? Be like, the sneakoscope is in Uncle Vernon's socks in the trunk. The sneakoscope is in Uncle Vernon's socks.
The quill is out of the pocket. The quill is out of the pocket.
Yeah, that's exactly as mundane as I would like for his code name to be. So, yeah, Harry goes to the hospital wing to try to speak with Professor McGonagall. Madame Pomfrey shrieks when he approaches, which is, like, not a practice bedside manner.
Yeah, I thought, to be... A bedside manner in general is to not shriek.
Yeah, like very little shrieking.
Well, and I think this is the first of several times in this chapter that people will act very out of character. Like,
okay.
I think a lot of dramatic word choices were chosen to express how the characters were feeling. I believe that Harry roars in frustration at one point.
He is using a lot of shouting. Ongoing, all caps.
Yeah, seriously,
hard.
the caps are like, it's bad. It just kind of reminds me of like bad MySpace or Facebook posts or something like that. To get my point through, I will capitalize.
I was thinking about Cher. She does that a lot.
Cher? What?
God bless her. Cher tweets in all caps a lot.
Oh, well, she's,
Cher is 800 years old, does not know how to use a cap lock button.
I'm saying
that woman is a treasure. And the fact that she's tweeting it all.
It's a rebellious statement.
She tweets in all caps non-derogatory. Like, I'm saying that like so lovingly.
I get it.
That woman is doing her best, and we love her for it.
I don't really let my authors do all caps like this. Maybe for like 1 to 3 words every 100 pages. Or else it just completely loses it. If if everything's in caps, like it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's not special if everyone's just shouting all the time.
Yeah, then it's just a podcast.
Yeah, Harry, at Order of the Phoenix, Harry, it's not special if you're shouting all the time. At myself on a little post-it note, gonna put that on my computer monitor so I remember when I'm podcasting.
I just think of that Squidward quote where he says, "People talk loud when they want to act smart, right?" And Plankton goes, "Correct!" I think of that with capital letters.
I think that's what this podcast is. In a good way, in a fun, cute way.
Look, we're all too smart. We have to talk over each other all the time. It's a natural occurrence.
That's how you get smarter. Talking over your friends.
That's how you get smarter, by sharing your ideas. Well, shouldn't you, hear what they say about your ideas? No, as long as your ideas are heard, experience is gained. That sounds like something Hitler would say.
So,
as long as your ideas are heard.
Oh my God, I get it, Andrew.
It's happening. Harry's trying to speak with Professor McGonagall, but she's at St. Mungo's because is she on the brink of death?
Tina, she took 4 stunners to the chest at her.
Is it like she had a heart attack? You know what I mean?
I would imagine it would be more like an old woman getting stunned by 3 tasers at the same time. It's just everything there is just system. It's not the strongest system to begin with, and you don't want to be adding that much of that to that thing, you know? One taser would be bad at that age, but then multiples at that age.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things.
I had to put a big old question mark next to that one because I didn't read that chapter.
Oh no, that's okay.
We did the reading for you. I was on the last chapter.
Yeah, I did. I do need to start telling guests explicitly in my little guest guide. I discourage you from attempting to catch up on the reading. You will not be called out for not having read this 870 page long book.
Exactly.
In 1 week.
I would legitimately be if I have to follow along with this, I'm done. I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure.
This is your curse, not mine.
I think that's why people like the podcast, is because they already know the source material.
That's true.
They don't have to do anything. Wait, I'm just gonna look real quick. So we are just about, we're 110 pages from.
But who's counting?
120 pages from the end of the book. I'm counting. I'm counting.
Oh, you are actively counting.
Yeah.
Tina, I actually kind of appreciated getting this chapter because I don't know. I went into this with kind of bad expectations because I've kind of been listening along with Leela and kind of just seeing how bad the writing is sometimes. I was kind of dreading reading a chapter of this book again, but
yep, I'm familiar with the feeling.
This one in particular, I guess stuff happens.
Yep, stuff happens.
There is conflict. There is character exchange. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
High.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's kind of like when the movie starts getting interesting, from what I remember of it.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about the movie during this part. One last note. Madame Pomfrey is very fiercely proud of Professor McGonagall, which I think is very cute and nice, and I hope they're friends.
Agreed.
Yes.
So with McGonagall gone, there's no true adults here. So Harry goes to literally his brain is short circuiting, and his brain is what about Ron and Hermione? And he's yes, Ron and Hermione. And he goes and finds them and tells them what he saw, and then he's how are we gonna get to the Ministry of Magic?
And he needs the answer now.
Yeah, this is when he starts going all caps.
Yeah.
Hermione,
because Sirius is being tortured right now. I had a dream.
Yeah, I'm not Team Harry in this chapter specifically. I wish Hermione was maybe doing anything.
Was maybe acting more like Hermione normally would act.
Kind of saying exactly. She probably should have said what Luna eventually had the guts to say later on. She's
you're being kind of rude.
Yeah, you're being rude.
Well, and even beyond being rude, he's being fucking stupid.
He's being really, really, really stupid. He's being so. But listen, like, this isn't an excuse for the lengths that Harry Potter is about to take to fuck up his life. But I've been saying this whole book, we've been debating about it a little bit, like the fact that Harry Potter doesn't understand that Voldemort could be using their connection against him. He really doesn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that becomes so evident in this chapter because he says, what I see is real. It really happened. And therefore, this is definitely really happening. And somebody at some point should have just talked to him about the fact that he might get fucked.
Yeah, when it shows a further lack of understanding of like what actually has happened, because as far as he knows, he actually only knows that one time it happened, right?
Yeah.
He only actually knows that. He assumes that because that one time it turned out to be real, every other time was real. Like, it's because he has never this entire book talked to a single adult about his actual, like, fears and thoughts with this, that no one's explained to him, like, the very obvious logical faults that are going at play here.
Yeah, he's too much of a hothead.
It's just very simple shit. Like, it's very...
At least check to see if Sirius is, like, back at the house, or, like, even tried to confirm that any of this might be true. I appreciated Hermione's, like, position and how she kind of handled it, where she knows he's temperamental and he's not going to listen, but she's trying to ease the logic into him, like, progressively. It takes a long time, though.
Yeah.
He probably should have taken some flu powder. We're not even there yet. He probably should have taken some flu powder, gone through the fire, checked the whole house.
Can you get flu powder?
That's like how...
in Hogwarts?
She has some on her mantle. That's how they use it.
Do it later. Yeah.
But I don't know if you can just pocket something like that if it burns up. Anyway. I'm jumping ahead.
Cool.
Hermione's like, what the fuck? What are you saying to me? They're going back and forth. Hermione's trying to be logical. Harry is acting emotionally. He has emotional motivations.
Yeah.
Hermione says what we're all thinking. Hey, dude, seems like you kind of have a thing for saving people.
Yeah.
And Harry Potter's like, how dare you say that to me when I need to be saving this guy?
Yeah. Don't you see how important it is for me to save this person right now? Now you can tell me about my saving people problem after this person has been saved.
Enough with the psychobabble, Doc.
Harry Potter. Yeah. He just... See, and this is another area where it seems very un-Hermione to me, that when the stakes are this high. Because, like, if you're Hermione, what you think is going on is Voldemort has fed this false thing to him, which means you're playing into the trap. Like, this is as high as the stakes could possibly be, and you're still using kitty gloves and going along trying to help him. Like, this is when you fucking grab him by the back of his shirt and say, hey, guy, hey, you're just wrong. You're just wrong.
Yeah. Is the justification that Sirius is, like, you know, the only link he has to family, like, that's why he's kind of just, like, not thinking through the situation?
I mean, he has Lupin.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, Sirius is, like, his godfather, though, you know.
Yeah, he, like, imprints on Sirius, and it's stupid. And literally, well...
Until later on when he needs to... Yeah. He's terrible.
I just read the chapter in Deathly Hallows where, I'm sorry to do this, I'll try and only do it up to 3 times in this episode, but I did just today read the chapter of Deathly Hallows where Tonks and Lupin have their baby, and Lupin comes and asks Harry to be the godfather, and Harry's like, I'm already as crazy of a godfather as Sirius was. And I'm like, Harry, no. Please, no.
I'm going to do this correctly. Just like I saw from my fatherly figures. Yeah, it just... So
if I were Hermione, I would be like, hey, dude, I feel like you're acting so irrationally that I can't help you with this. Like, I would feel confident that would stop the show, maybe, hopefully, because without Hermione, what are they going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the thing is like the other part of it that seems very odd to me that Hermione doesn't pick up on is like this is clearly Harry acting irrationally because Sirius said the line about like, oh, well, maybe you're not like your dad after all, right?
Whatever. Oh
Like,
my god,
this-
they're such
Yeah.
like a sensitive little bitches.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
why
And
are they these boys?
Because feelings are hard to talk about when you're not supposed to talk about them. So
Jesus.
but that's why he's doing this, right? Like
See, I
that's
prefer women. We know. No, you guys die.
Hi.
They just understand you when you talk to them. Anyway, so to Hermione and the reader, this is just so obviously bait, and I would have to refuse to participate in this. I'd be like, this is a bad idea. I'm going to tell you once, loud and clear. Do whatever you want.
well, and this is another place where Hermione. There is nothing about Hermione's character that says that she would forget Snape's in the Order.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's
I
a
was
good
wondering
point.
about that too.
This is the point at which she would say, "Let's go to fucking Snape." You don't like him, but if
it's
Dumbledore
someone.
and she would you can like hear Hermione saying, "If Dumbledore trusts him, we should too. Go and tell Snape." Like he would have avoided Umbridge. She never would have known, and they would have handled the situation.
Would you go to Snape? I would never go to Snape because he's seeing this despite his occlumency lessons, which are obviously still a sensitive issue between him and Snape. I would just be so certain that nothing. I don't know, man.
Maybe he's just
that
like,
nothing could come of it.
like, dude, that's gonna be like, maybe Hermione understands that the situation is awkward between them, and she doesn't suggest it, but doesn't make sense.
It's not like Hermione. Yeah.
Nah.
I don't like when there's so many times throughout these books. Really, it's really a lot when Harry's anger makes Hermione visibly scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or visibly recoil, and it's like, I guess that's how you learn. They say that if you raise a kitten, it has to be with other cats so that they can learn that biting is bad. I feel like Harry kind of levels out in the end a little bit, but maybe that's just the crushing depression of Deathly Hallows. But there's my second mention of Deathly Hallows.
Woo. Part 2.
But Hermione's just going along with it so hard right now, and it makes me sad.
And Ron's not really doing anything. But I guess that's kind of makes
He's like, yeah, Harry, you're great. I believe you. Sounds perfect. Right? Does he do that?
Harry, I'm really still deeply afraid of losing you because I felt that last year and I've never gotten over it. So I'm going to blindly support you in anything that you do here, bud. Let's do you.
Wink.
Yeah.
So Ginny and Luna come in. They've been yelling in a classroom. Ginny and Luna come in, and Ginny literally is just like, "Hey, I was eavesdropping. Can I help?" And I love her. Love her so much. Hermione suggests they use Umbridge's fire again to check whether or not Sirius is home. It's just such a bad plan.
Yeah, again, a terrible, terrible plan.
Oh, the garroting gas or the fake garroting gas ploy?
Oh yeah, the garroting gas.
Well, just to constantly use the same method over and over.
Oh,
using
you
her
mean
fire.
later, isn't
Oh,
it?
I see.
Of
You
using
mean
her fire
constantly.
over and over. And
Yeah.
over. Yeah, wouldn't Ron, the king of chess, be like, "Hey guys, let's not use the same tactic every single time."
No, Ron's like, I'll do it.
Hey, baby daddy, what can I do for you?
Harry's like, I've done absolutely nothing wrong. I know, and I support you. Sorry. Just gonna-
So here's a little trick. I'm about to spoil a lot of things for you. When you're reading, if there's a plan and the book tells you what the plan is going to be, that plan's not going to go according to plan. Because why would they tell you twice how the plan is supposed to go?
Right.
The plan will work usually, more often, if they don't explain the plan to you.
Because you learn the plan as you're doing the plan that way, and there's no need to tell you. Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
So they're like, here's what we're gonna do, and they line it down, and it's like, well, that surely won't go according to plan.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that you know that, because as we all know, that's the method that James Bond would use to foil his adversaries' plans, is that by making them tell him their plan, the plan's not going to go as planned because yeah.
I mean, obviously,
Everyone
like, conflict
The
can't
villain's
happen
monologue.
if everything goes. Yeah.
James Bond was actually an incredibly meta series if you know to look for it and really close your eyes a lot.
You son of a gun! You got me monologuing again.
Wait, what's that from?
The Incredibles.
Yeah. Syndrome.
So Ron's gonna tell Umbridge that Peeves is wrecking the Transfiguration department.
I've been thinking a lot about Peeves recently.
You mean the classroom?
No, Peeves.
No. Okay.
Wait, what?
I hear you. You've been thinking about Peeves. Oh, why have you been thinking about Peeves?
Oh, no, it's not important. I was just like, I forget that I kind of forget he exists. So sometimes it's kind of nice.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun in this book. He causes a lot of good shenanigans.
Anyway, continue.
It says Transfiguration Department, but like it's just a room, right? It's not like the science wing.
I would always assume that they had multiple classrooms for different levels that maybe have
Why?
like different materials already in the room ready to go for the lectures. I don't know.
That's so many classrooms. And they have
It's
so
a-
many empty classrooms.
They have a
too.
giant castle. You got to use them somehow, right? We're going to go to Transfiguration Room 7-B. This is for 7
you're gonna
years
look on
in
Rec
the month
27?
of October.
You'll find the last living dodo, but he's been turned into a cup.
Turn them back.
Okay, Luna and Ginny are going to stand on either side of the corridor where Umbridge's office is to tell people it's full of garroting gas, which is a word I had to Google. It means strangling.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, dang. I thought it would be like the equivalent of like stink gas because people in my high school did that all the time. But that sounds worse.
Well,
Sounds
we
like
got
tear
stink
gas.
bombs and dung bombs.
Yeah, and can we all agree that if watching the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that to standing there saying that, there would be at least one asshole that would walk up and go, "I don't believe you," and walk through. Right? Like
In America.
In Britain.
In Britain, they're like, oh, sorry. And then they go the other way.
Oh, don't want to be
I
involved.
don't know. I think you'd still find at least one shitty person at Hogwarts that'd be like, "I don't believe you, and I'm a Fremen on the land. I'm going to walk where I want to."
So
But British.
Harry and Hermione are going to sneak into Umbridge's office under the invisibility cloak, and Harry's going to check for Sirius in the fire, and Hermione's going to stand guard. She's worried about the window.
Yeah.
I'm surprised
Super
they can
important.
still fit under that cloak. Like two 15-year-olds?
It becomes a little, I think,
It starts to
that
get
they
a little
can all
snug.
in Deathly Hallows, they can all three wear it very, very carefully and like crouching.
Deathly Hallows Part 3.
Excuse me.
Oh, because you've referenced Deathly Hallows twice already.
Oh, I thought there's like the part 1 and part 2 movies, and you said part 3, and I was like, don't wish that upon the world.
There's more.
Wow, so that's my third Deathly Hallows reference, huh? I'm not allowed anymore. I really didn't think I was gonna hit 3, but here
You
we
can,
are.
but you have
and
to.
you're going to hit.
You can, but you have to donate to the jar from this point on.
It's just such a more fun book than this
Yeah.
one.
That jar is going to be overflowing. I bet you get at least 3 more references in.
Here, this is just still the same reference. So I'll tell you that I just read the chapter where they break that dragon out of Gringotts. That shit is fun. That shit is fun to read.
See, listeners, this is when Tina slowly starts becoming a Harry Potter apologist. And by the end of it, she's going to be telling us that you have
Can't
to
deny Dragon Escape.
you have to separate the art
Dragon
from the
Liberation.
artist. It's really what
Dragon
you gotta
Liberation
do.
is the name of my punk band.
Ooh.
Yes, because so many dragons. It's not just, that one dragon that's shackled. There's so many. That's what when you think of dragons, you think of just imprisoned, right?
You don't know. Okay, so they start the plan. Harry goes sprinting to get the invisibility cloak, and he passes Seamus and Dean, right, who are preparing for a party because owls are over, and they're ordering. What did it say? Did it say like black market butterbeer or like illicit illegal butterbeer?
Oh, fire whiskey.
hold on. No, it's before the fire whiskey.
Oh.
We're escalating to the fire whiskey.
Oh, I see.
What is this chapter? Is this fight and flight?
Out of the fire?
This is out of the fire.
You made a whole,
Far,
like,
too far.
thing about it in the beginning.
Oh my god, there's so many capital letters on these pages.
Yeah, we said that too.
Okay.
Butterbeers. Black market butterbeers.
Yeah, black market butterbeer. I just want to understand. I want to understand what the fuck is butterbeer? That they're allowed to drink it as they wish at any age in the village, but it's like not allowed at Hogwarts.
My guess is one of two things. Either butterbeer normally is like a 1 to 2% alcohol beer, where you would have to drink so
wild.
much of it to the point where it makes it kind of silly.
Yeah, it's like a Mike's
They
Hard.
actually still. Well, no, they actually have what they call near beer, because there are places that, like in Utah, for example, beer can only be half as strong as it is, like in the rest of the country.
What,
So
really?
if you buy like a Bud Light, it's actually a different type of Bud Light that is only half the strength of a normal beer. It's like 2%.
That's
So it
wild.
does not get you drunk. Like, you can drink it, but it's just you have to drink such quantities that it's just
Wait,
not
that's
practical.
good to know because I'm going to Utah later this year.
I could be wrong, but I
Bring
remember
in
I'm
your
gonna
own
guard
beer.
Up, though. I'm gonna be like,
I-
what?
yeah.
Bring your beer to Utah.
I do. Well, no,
Beer's
in all
no good
seriousness,
there.
I remember hearing somewhere that the beer normally is like a very low percentage. So you'll have to test that out. See if you can drink
You're
like
telling
15
me Utah's
beers
full
and
of
be fine.
Mormons?
Yeah. But the other option though is it might be one of those deals where they just won't overserve them in the village. So like they'll serve them like a couple of glasses, but then they send them on their way and not let them get like drunk. Right?
I see. Okay. I don't. Neither one of those options makes any sense to me, an American. But I guess they do things different in other places. I just feel like people have such sticks up their asses about kids doing stuff here.
Yeah, let them make their toilet wine if it's fun.
Let those first years drink. Let those 11-year-olds get smashed.
When I was definitely under 21, I got a call from a friend up where I used to live in Fairfax, Virginia, and they were like, come to this street right now. There's beer everywhere. And these like 10 kids had tried to just completely rob the Food Lion blind of beer, and they like ran out carrying so much beer, and they ditched it in this neighborhood. They were like trying to get away from the cops or whoever,
Oh my
and
God.
there was beer everywhere. And I rolled up with my Camry and we threw it all in the trunk.
Oh my
And like
god.
your kid gets something like that fair and square, you let him drink it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that spoils of war right there.
Hey, finders keepers.
I was foraging.
That's what we should do to instill anti-capitalist values in the youth. You can only get beer that you successfully steal from a large corporate store. You go to Walmart or Target and you steal a fucking case. That is your case by law.
If there's any children listening, which please don't, but don't steal beer. They will catch you. It's way too heavy to run with.
Yeah, don't do that.
And then they're talking about fire whiskey. They ask Harry to throw in, and Harry ignores them. But imagine if he hadn't been doing this right now. Harry Potter has enough money to get everyone fire whiskey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This is true, yeah.
yeah.
But he has
I
to
don't
use
know.
it sparingly.
I feel like if you summoned the night bus, you could probably find someone to buy you fire whiskey. Right? Like, just walk
Yeah.
up and down and be like, "Oh man, would you mind buying this? I left my wizard ID at home. Would you buy this for me? I'll let you keep the change for doing the favor."
Can you just spell someone to do that for you?
Are you suggesting the Imperious curse?
Oh, is that a bad thing? Ooh, a little Slytherin
That's
slipped out of
against the
me.
law, Jason.
You know they have order by Al, right? You could just order that shit by Al. There's no way that they don't do that.
Dude, they only check an owl every once in a while.
Everyone goes off in different directions. Ron goes to get Umbridge, to take her away from her office. Harry and Hermione put on the cloak and wait while Ginny and Luna start clearing out the hallway from garroting gas. An invisible gas that will strangle you? Aren't we worried about that, guys? They're like, oh, fuck this.
No, this is just what happens in school. It's a common occurrence.
This is
I
just
don't know.
Hogwarts shit.
Is this better or worse than the pond or the swamp?
Do what,
Oh,
Swamp?
that's much worse than the swamp. The portable swamp.
Oh, right.
Lord,
I know what that is. I understood that reference.
I think maybe earlier in the episode I was calling it a pond, but it's a swamp.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever. There's a pond in the swamp.
There's a dingy factor that you weren't including.
They said I was deaf to put a swamp in a castle.
Okay, so Harry and Hermione go into Professor Umbridge's office. No.
Again, Hermione would 1,000% check for any way that she knew she would check for fucking charms.
Yeah. I also just knowed myself because I called her Professor Umbridge, and I told myself I was going to stop doing that because she is not an educator.
No.
She is an authority
We
figure.
call her Dolores. Dolores is actually my late grandmama's name.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a strong name. Have you guys seen Westworld?
No.
I watched it at your house.
Oh yeah, Evan Rachel Wood in Westworld is named Dolores, and I'm like, oh, it's pretty good, Dolores.
Grandma, were you that hot when you were young?
She was in like a 1950s kind of way, you know.
There was an episode of Seinfeld that I didn't get until much later in my until a little later in my life, but it was like Seinfeld couldn't remember his girlfriend's name, and she gave him a subtle hint, like through conversation, that it rhymed with how do I say this?
A part of the female
anatomy. That's what she says, and so he's just like trying to guess it the entire time, and he's like, Mulva.
Mulva.
and then at the very end, they reveal that it's Dolores, and I didn't get that joke until I was a little bit into college, because like when I was 10 and watching Seinfeld, I was like, what does Dolores rhyme with?
Oh, clitoris.
Yeah, it's kind of a stretch.
Or clitoris.
The clitoris.
Clitoris.
Of Dolores.
Yeah, it sounds like a dinosaur, doesn't it?
I always think of Gilbert Gottfried reading 50 Shades of Grey when he goes, clitoris!
What did you just say to me? What the fuck did you just say to me, Jason?
What was that sentence?
Wait, you never saw that?
I've never seen that in my life.
I think it's like a Funny or Die or college humor video, but it's or maybe it's BuzzFeed, but it's just Gilbert Gottfried like hypothetically being like the audiobook reader for 50 Shades of Grey. And
oh my God.
He just says, he screams out, clitoris! And it's
I did listen to those books on audiobook, so I wish I had known about this before
Need
I
your
listened
hands
to
free?
some bitch. I did need my hands free because I was in charge of a bunch of fucking pools that
You're
summer. I was
lifeguarding
cleaning
that
pools.
summer.
Okay, Harry puts his stupid little head in the stupid little fireplace, and there's no one home in Grimmauld Place.
Womp womp.
except
for a lowly house elf. Sorry, these books are so shitty about their non-human people.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, great.
Harry's in a state, so I probably would react poorly if I were a creature too to this intrusion.
He's in a state of flames. It's the Potter boy's head in the fire. Like, I don't know, it's just funny.
He says to himself.
Stealing furtive, oddly triumphant glances at Harry.
Dude, he's acting with all his heart right now.
He is. He's going for
He's
gold.
acting so hard.
He's acting for
He's
himself.
going for an Oscar. Creature's like, oh, he's gone to the Department of Mysteries and he'll never return. Pretty much.
Well, and doesn't Creature not wait to say Department of Mysteries until Harry says Department of Mysteries? Like, Creature
Perhaps.
just plays him like a fucking fiddle.
It's true. So he's acting with his whole little heart right now. Harry gets pulled out of the fire and he's choking. I probably would be too. Choking a little bit. Guess what? It's Professor Umbridge. You're in her office.
Oh my god.
Wap, wap, wap.
Wait a second. He wasn't able to outsmart an adult for a third time?
She has the Inquisitorial Squad with her.
I was a little confused.
Yeah.
are stealth censoring spells like a common thing? Like that's like
Well-
does not Hogwarts not use them?
Joanne makes up literally anything she wants to at any time and capitalizes the first letters of the thing.
'Cause I was like, why didn't
it's
they guard
a
the Sorcerer's
genius
Stone
with
that?
invention.
Well, and this is also where it kind of fucks with what we know about this particular cloak, right? Because this is not an invisibility cloak. This is a cloak of invisibility. Like, I know it's semantic, but she makes this difference later on, right? About how, like, normal rules don't apply to it. So how does your dinky-ass sensory charm detect this super high-level, fools everything except Moody's eye, which is another, like, crazy powerful thing? Just seems kind of shitty. It
Imagine
seems kind
if
of,
she's just
like, bad writing.
Spent another decade plotting out the lore a little bit, just a little bit. Not your entire life like Tolkien, but like just a little bit, like a George R.R. Martin.
J.R.R. Rowling.
Ew, I hate that.
Don't invoke it. Oh man. Okay, so their wands are gone. Harry's like, I was here for my firebolt. I thought it would be in the fire. Get it? Firebolt.
Yeah. Word association is always best when you're in these types of situations.
She's like, I know you're speaking with someone because she's a genius.
Yeah, she is showing high levels of intellect and deduction right there.
Oh, they don't pay her the big bucks for nothing.
And then more of the inquisitorial squad comes in with Ginny, Luna, and Neville, who got caught up accidentally in the whole thing.
The Goon Squad.
Harry won't talk, so Umbridge sends Draco Malfoy to get Snape. And then Harry Potter is like, oh yeah,
I don't.
Snape.
Oh, wait a minute. Since the Inquisitorial Squad is made up entirely of Slytherins, can we just call them green shirts?
Is that
Sure.
something else? No, I'm thinking of the Green Berets.
Yeah, green berets is something else, but
I was like, is
they're
that a
not
Star
brown
Trek
shirts, they're
reference?
green shirts. No, they're not brown shirts, they're green shirts.
I don't know what a brown shirt is.
It was like Hitler's foot soldiers before
Oh, god damn
they
it.
like took over.
You always got to make it about Hitler.
It all comes back to Hitler.
Listeners, this is what it's like having Andrew as a friend. Just casually coming back to Hitler.
Enter Severus Snape. Are we feeling relieved or trepidatious?
I felt like a sense of relief. I had to put myself like in the mindset of a pre-Deathly Half-Blood Prince mentality. Like, I think I trusted Snape a little more back then. So I was like, thank God, an adult who equally hates Umbridge.
Right, bare minimum.
He's got Umbridge with her
So Umbridge summoned him here to ask for Veritaserum.
for some slight
And
torturing.
Snape is like, you did you use all of it? Because I gave you a lot, and I told you that 3 drops was enough.
We've all heard that conversation from a drug dealer.
Yeah, well, and this sounds like Snape getting more mad that his shit has gone, his stock is gone, than he is that his shit was used to interrogate children without their knowledge, right? He's not mad at what she did with it. He's mad that she used all of it. And that just says a lot about Snape.
Well, he's also big acting right now.
I think he's like
He's
trying
big
to
acting.
pass a little judgmental side eye towards her. It's like, oh, sorry, you used it all up interrogating children.
Well, she put it all. He says you asked for it for Harry Potter. I told you 3 drops would do. Like, she gave him the whole bottle. Harry Potter's like, well, that's why I had the shits over the last week.
Yeah.
He gave me like a whole dose of Veritaserum.
I couldn't hold the truth in my ass any longer.
Well, and I think that there's also the chance, the chance that Snape is trying to, for the love of God, make sure, because like he doesn't know the full extent of trouble that Harry's in. So it could also be him trying to subtly remind him, like, hey, you're not safe anywhere, right? Like, this is the type of shit that she's having me do.
Is it
Yeah, indeed.
is it a possibility that Snape could be lying about not having any Veritaserum?
Oh,
Yeah, for
1,000%.
sure.
Okay.
He definitely could be lying. He'd be like, he's like, this is a bad time.
Oh, it takes a
I
month to
don't-
make.
I-
Sorry.
it's a lot.
Snape would 1000% keep extra Veritaserum always on
Oh yeah,
stock.
he's like, that's the end of the school supply.
Yeah, that's all
not my
that you're
personal
getting.
supply.
Yeah, that's all that you're getting.
You're cut off, babe.
Rule number 1 of being a Slytherin in that situation, you would not give your entire supply of anything to her.
Yeah, for real.
Especially when she's desperate.
So she's not getting any. So we're just like, Snape, you're on probation. Get on my face. And he's like, as you wish, madam.
As you wish.
I do kind of love Snape in this scene.
Yeah.
You know, he's a really fun character. I just think his ending is like not satisfying, but like along the way, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, this is literally him being like, bitch, it is going into summer. You think I'm coming back for another year of you in this position? Like, I'm on, oh no, what am I going to do over the next 30 days until these students go home? I better walk around on eggshells.
Right.
He's probably just like, these kids are gonna, you're gone. These kids are gonna have you out by the end of this year. I know. I've been at the school a long time. I know how this shit works.
Cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has been there like 20 years, I think, maybe around that long.
Yeah.
Well, it would have to be like at least as old as Harry would be, maybe.
Wow, you're right about that.
Because I forget that
They
Snape
say it
is
at
just
some
kind
point.
of my age right now.
They probably say it in the chapter where she is like observing all the
Quizzing him.
teachers.
Yeah.
I probably couldn't find that in an 870-page long book, though, if I wanted to reference back to it.
Wait, how many pages is it?
870.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, so Snape's on his way out. Harry says he's got Padfoot. He's got Padfoot at the place where it's hidden. Desperation.
He shouted.
Snape is like, I don't know what you're saying to me. And then he leaves, and Harry's like, oh no!
Oh no, why
Instead of
wouldn't that
being
work?
Well, and
Harry
I love,
doesn't for one second think that they're all just playing this game.
and this is where Umbridge is out of character. Because Umbridge, of all people, like, she's evil and stupid, but she's not dumb enough to not be like, I have no idea what he said. No, bullshit. He said very specific, nonsensical words to you in a very specific order.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no. She would never be like, what's that? You don't know? Okay, I believe you.
Umbridge is the outsider in an inside joke. Oof. It's always awkward. No, what does Padfoot mean? I want to know what that means.
He says, Snape says, Potter, when I want nonsense shouted at me, I shall give you a babbling beverage, capitalized, because it's very smart to come up with a concept like babbling beverage. And she's like, well, I guess that's convincing to me.
I love that right after saying that, he says, Crab, let go of Longbottom a little bit. If he suffocates, I'll have to fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is literally like, this is a moment where it just looks like someone pulling off a charisma check that they should not be able to pull off in a game of D&D.
Oh,
right?
seriously, yeah.
It's one of those
Yeah.
types, it's that bad of writing that it feels like you can like see the die being thrown in Umbridge's head and her being like, okay, I believe you this time.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sure this person.
All right, I'll let you off with a warning this time.
Yeah, this student who hates that teacher more than any other student hates that teacher, as his last act before being taken away for severe punishment, shouted nonsense. And the guy was just like, yeah, I don't know what that means. I'm sure. I'm fucking sure.
I don't know. Conveniently stupid.
There's a lot of stuff happening very quickly in like these last, like 8 chapters or whatever. Maybe
The book
6
has to end
chapters.
somehow.
Oh my God, we're close.
Well, she had written 750 pages at this point and went, oh, fuck, I haven't done a plot yet.
I forgot to write a plot.
Shit.
Yeah. So like, I feel like kind of
Ooh, trailed off there for a bit.
What happens next? A lot of what happens next, I'm like, no, honey. No, I would never have made any of these choices for like the next 150 pages. I would never have made any of those choices.
Oh, yeah, so...
It's then that Harry did something incredibly dumb but incredibly brave.
What?
It's a line from, I think it's the first book.
Whatever.
That the joke is that it sums up the entire series in the one line, which is, it's at this point that Harry did something incredibly dumb and incredibly brave.
Yes.
Yeah. That is he, and that's him for the rest of this book, so brace yourself. So Umbridge starts talking herself up to do the Cruciatus curse on Harry to make him talk.
Ooh.
She's like, okay, cool.
Yeesh.
We got this. I can do
Light
this.
torture? Fine. Like, they're just minors. What? This is England. No one cares.
It's like, well, and Cornelius will understand. Like, he'll get it, right?
What he
Like,
doesn't know won't hurt him.
She says, what he doesn't know won't hurt him.
all right, Forrest Gump.
How many times has she done this?
Ever since we watched a Harry Potter sequel a week or two ago, I can't read Umbridge in the same way anymore.
I'm not just a teacher or a security officer. In fact, I like to think of all of you as my daughters. And that makes me your mama. And very loving and caring mama I am.
That's stupid. Stupid ass show.
It's
was
so
great, though.
fun. It's so fun. She's like, sit on this knife.
Now you're a rule breaker, Potter, and it's time for your punishment. What punishment? Oh, it's nothing too bad. You just gotta take this knife, put it upright on a chair, and sit on it, Popsy!
So she, in her monologue, in her villain's monologue, she admits that she sent the Dementors, unprompted. She's like, I sent the Dementors out.
It's like no one asked.
Last summer.
Let me confess to this crime in a room full of children.
She tries to cast the Cruciatus curse, but Hermione interrupts her to confess. Very passionately. She's crying-ish.
Yes. Hermione Granger is crying to get out of a speeding ticket. You know.
Yeah.
Like Hermione would totally do.
That takes talent, though. I can't just muster up the tears like that easily.
Well, neither can she.
She doesn't. It specifically says she doesn't muster the tears.
Oh. Well, she tries to, like, kind of stutter her words and try to, like, act out upset. I don't know. But also, I skip over sentences.
If you make enough of a fuss, sometimes people don't want to look right at you.
Yeah.
And you can get away without the tears.
Human tears are very natural. In fact, when I was a young human, tears would flow from my eyeballs all the time.
So she says they were trying to get in touch with Dumbledore to tell him his weapon is ready. It takes like half a page, but that's what she says.
Yeah.
She says that they've tried the leaky cauldron and the 3 broomsticks and even Hogsmeade to try to find him.
And Umbridge is like, you dumb idiot. I believe every word of this.
But, well, I liked it when she said, like, idiot girl, Dumbledore will be sitting in a pub when the whole ministry's looking for him. And to myself, I thought, but what if he was?
He probably is.
It's like in like Shaun of the Dead, where it's just like, let's just grab a pint at Hogsmeade until this all blows over.
Take car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
Go sit at the Hog's Head and wait for this all to blow over.
But we haven't talked about this. Like, where do you actually think Dumbledore is right now?
Grimmauld
Jason,
Place.
any ideas?
Ooh, I'm trying to think of the ending of this book, because Dumbledore comes in at the Ministry. When was the last time we saw Dumbledore, if you don't mind me asking?
When he fucking disappeared. He does, like, the dramatic... It's when, the Dumbledore's army gets caught doing illicit Defense Against the Dark Arts. And then, they get taken to Dumbledore's office, and they have, like, the little roster that says Dumbledore's army at the top, because Hermione is a fool.
Oh.
And then they're like, we're going to have to arrest you, Dumbledore. And he's like, well, that's going to be a problem. And then he and Fawkes, the Phoenix, vanish into the night.
The Dumbledore's
so
got
where
style
do you think
moment.
he is? A man without a plan.
Wherever the wind takes him.
Well, in all seriousness, he's probably doing that thing that, what's his name? Slughorn does in the next book, where he just goes to random muggle houses when they're on vacation.
Just poses their furniture.
Like, that's totally a Dumbledore move, right?
Yeah, that's not bad. I'll buy that.
He does like those
Maybe he
knitting
goes
magazines.
to, like, Miami or somewhere fun.
Yeah, well, in Dumbledore would 1,000% have contacts outside of the country, right? He would have contacts all over the world where people would be like, I don't care what your government thinks of you. You're fucking Dumbledore. Come hang out with me.
I don't know if he'd want to go that far.
Right.
Because canon, you can't operate, like, across the world. You can only operate, like, kind of regionally.
But we don't know how far Fawkes can help him travel.
Fox the Phoenix can do some fun stuff. Woo!
Woo! Maybe that amplify. I mean, he could be like in France. He could be in France. He could probably be in Germany.
Yeah, Spain.
Maybe on the Riviera.
On a nice beach in Spain. On a nude beach in Spain.
You know what? Actually, he is probably in Europe because he's probably chasing down the fucking Deathly Hallows.
There's a possibility.
Why?
Because, I mean, that's what it all comes to in the end, right? Wouldn't this be some of the time that he's, like, trying to collect a lot of the stuff that...
The only Deathly Hallow, he already had the Elder Wand at that
Harry's
point,
got the
and Harry has the cloak, so it would just be looking for the Resurrection Stone, so I actually think not, because why if you don't have a good reason?
He's looking for his next defense against the Dark Arts teacher.
Well, I mean, excuse me. I misspoke. He's not looking for the Hollows, he's looking for the Horcruxes.
Horcruxes.
Because
That's a different story.
Yes, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant to say Horcruxes.
You brought Deathly Hallows into this. You did it, not me.
He's looking for the Horcruxes because, like, the ring and shit that we see that, like, over the time, at some point between now and the end.
Yeah, they do start with the ring in the next book.
Yeah, so that's probably what he's been doing. Honestly, for him, it's probably like, well, now I get to go and do the shit that really matters.
Yeah. So Umbridge tells Hermione to take her to this weapon. And she's like, all of you students who I've convinced to protect me, come protect me. But then Hermione is like, good, I hope they do see it and they use it against you. She's kind of good. Hermione's good.
Hermione knows how a fascist's mind works, so she's able to
yes, the get them before they get you mentality.
Yeah, if this is a weapon I can use, and other people might be able to use it as well. Shit. The little girl is correct. We will not do that.
So they convince Umbridge to go without any protection, and then they go.
No, she's right. I have a hubris that must be met. I will not.
I will
need
go
any
alone.
assistance.
I'm too proud for help.
I'm a fully qualified witch. What? Fully qualified?
Well, that's the end of the chapter. Jason, do you have any, like, final thoughts or, like, any favorite moments or anything you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
Oh boy, I liked every time they called her a toad because I was just like, how many times are you going to use that description? But yeah, I you know, I'll take what I can get in this particular book. Like, it was kind of an exciting chapter. There were some funny quips coming out of Snape, and I was just kind of, as much as it doesn't really make sense, it's kind of funny when Umbridge is being so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbridge.
Dumbridge, yeah. In true Order of the Phoenix fashion, it just kind of just reminds me of, like, real world politics and how everything's awful in real life. And because, like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, when she was, like, planning to torture children and, like, do, like, these unconventional methods, I remember, like, at the time, like, a lot of stuff in the news was coming out about, like, Americans torturing people, like, overseas and stuff. Grave. And yep. I, like, that kept flashing. I wouldn't even think that was intentional on J.K. Rowling's part. So part of me is just like, that's just weird that, like, this has such a weird, dark, like, grounded tone, but not in a great way. I don't know. I think it's the way I described it the last time I was here was that it takes stuff from real life and injects fantasy into it in, like, a bad way.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think is always important to remember is, like, there's a reason that we liked J.K. Rowling before we knew more about her, right? And one of the things that I liked about her is she was very kind of openly, not full on like an anti-fascist, but like a lot of what's in this book is standing up to an authoritarian rule, right? Like,
yeah, like a so-called good leader, like Fudge, and like and then like a bad one later with both.
Right, and like there's a lot of like good points, or at least points that I agree with and would like support in this series. That doesn't take away from that just because now we know that she's an awful person. It makes it even more, as part of the reason it feels like even more of a betrayal is because this is the type of stuff that she points out that's good, right? Like, It is right that you should not, authoritarianism is bad no matter who it is. And
I guess what I was kind of thinking of, I guess it was the first time I was maybe 14 when I read this book, so I guess it was kind of like the first time I was connecting with what I was reading, because I never usually read like brand new books, especially back then. So I just sounded super like like old for a second. But what I'm saying is just like, I think that's the first time I connected like a piece of fiction with what was going on around me, because like the owls reminded me of SATs and SOLs and everything in the ministry was reminding me of like, I don't know, TSA kind of related stuff and all the security clearance checks and everything, the bureaucracy of the ministry. And then in this we get, some corrupt individuals advocating for torture, and I'm just like, it's giving me flashbacks to like 2005 when everything was obviously awful,
Andrew, do you have any final words about the chapter?
No.
Okay, great.
I brought the mood down.
No. It's a pacing nightmare. Like the chapters just, we've ended like it's catching up for all these chapters where nothing happened, and it's a lot of shit, but it's also not a lot. Like the plot gets forward.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised with how much happened in this chapter, in that it was kind of an easy read because stuff was kind of moving at a bit of a faster pace.
Yeah, shit's definitely happening, and shit keeps happening really hard for the next like 6 chapters.
Yeah,
it's like the whole plot of the book is right now.
Yeah, like I said, she like kind of forgot. Like, oh fuck, that's right.
I was writing all this important stuff. I forgot about the plot.
Yeah.
Well, I just like to like count it down since we're so close to end of Order of the Phoenix. I can't even begin to
If you count it down, it's going to make it worse.
No, I'm counting it down.
It's going to make it seem longer.
It's so close.
Have you learned nothing from Christmas calendars? You can't count down.
Here's the thing, Jason. I have no choice but to count. I have a very cute little organized schedule, so when the countdown starts turning in my direction to support me and my goals, which is to be done with this book, I'm going to stop. Next week, we have Chapter 33, Fight and Flight, with Robert from the Damn Meme Page. New guest.
Woo!
After that, Chapter 34, The Department of Mysteries, with me, Brooke, Mike, and Freya.
Aww.
It's gonna be chaotic, but that's a really fun chapter. That's where we're like exploring.
Doing a little exploring.
A little sneaking.
Chapter 35, Beyond the Veil, with Courtney and Layla. You know what happens in that one.
No. No, I do.
Chapter...
Death.
Well, keep listening.
I'll listen to Freya and nothing else.
I support it. Okay, Chapter 36, The Only One He Ever Feared, with Zach from Belated Binge. That's going to be very fun. Chapter 37, The Lost Prophecy, with Cara Badalamenti, author of Cursed Coven, Wilding Press.
Woohoo!
And then Chapter 38, The Second War Begins, with Haley and Alex from Cabbages. And that's the end of the book.
You're going to be so happy that last episode.
That was not that long of a list.
So what day is the last episode of this book come out?
The last day that I personally have to talk about this book is May 5th.
So May 12th is the release.
Wait, I'm bad at numbers. No, I can't read numbers. It's May 3rd.
Not
So
on Cinco de Mayo. That would have been great.
Right? Oh my gosh, Cinco de Mayo is 2 days later.
Oh my god!
You get to go celebrate the accomplishment.
All right, let's move on to plugs.
Oh yeah, we're still recording an episode. I thought we wrapped up already.
We're still recording the episode. Jason, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at my Instagram. It's a photography related biz. It's called Negative Selections, all one word. My plug. Oh darn! I forgot to think of a plug.
If you have any audio visual needs, hit up Jason.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Or yeah. Like if you need a jingle jangle for your next project, give me a call because I got a keyboard and a heart of gold.
He's got jingles.
I've got jingles and everything in between.
I've got a saw.
I've got a saw in my heart. Let's see.
It's a very dangerous medical condition, and I need money to help extract it.
Jason, what's something that you've watched in the past week that you liked?
Sorry, just give me a second to think. Oh, what did I watch recently? Oh, I just watched Priscilla, Queen of the Desert for the first time the other day.
Woo! What a fun movie.
I really liked it, yeah. So I would definitely recommend that because we've both watched To Wong Fu together, which is like the American kind of equivalent, I guess. It's a road trip with drag queens. But this it's a little darker, it's a little grittier, it's a little darker sometimes. It's got Hugo Weaving. It's great. I would really recommend it.
Hell yeah. I think we watched that for movie night before the podcast and maybe even before we knew you, Jason. It was a long time ago.
Yes, I think it's quite possible.
Loft apartment. Yeah. I think it was in me and Sean's loft apartment.
Oh my god.
That sounds correct.
It's like I don't even know what that means.
We used to do movie night in my bedroom.
Movie night started as Game of Thrones night, way back in the day.
Sit down, kids, and let me tell you a tale about the first season of Game of Thrones.
Let me tell you about a little time called 2015.
I've been wanting to rewatch Game of Thrones recently.
Well, you should need to take those feelings and stuff them deep
just
down.
Take those feelings and replace them with, it's weird that they never made any episodes past season 4.
Yeah.
Andrew, what are you plugging this week?
Well, last week, I plugged Far Cry 5 because that's what I had been planning to plug the entire time and was not caught unawares by Mott's calling me out in a review. And when I brought that up, you mentioned the game. You were like, isn't that the one set like back in time? And I was like, I don't think so, but moving on.
I said prehistoric times.
Prehistoric times,
I'm
yeah.
Pacific.
After that record, I ended up actually downloading the game that you were talking about, which is Far Cry Primal, and I've been playing that, and it is very fun.
Woo!
Ooh.
Inadvertent plug.
Yeah, it what can I say? My plug multiplied and allowed me to plug something else. And
I didn't even play that game. I just watched Sean play it.
I think you said that. I think
it looks fun though.
Yeah, you like hunting mammoths and shit.
Well, I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. And this week, I got 2 things to plug. One, I just finished reading the book Smoke by Dan Violetta. It's a very cool Victorian England alternate history book where, like, people, when they're, like, doing bad things or when they're, like, emotional or, like, impassioned, they smoke from their skin. It's very interesting. So I really recommend that book. That's the second time I've read it, actually, and I really enjoyed it the second time as well. And also, I recently started watching the show Ghosts. A couple of our friends recommended that to me. I think Zach. I don't remember who else. But it's a show about a lady who lives in this, like, country mansion, and she has a near-death experience and can suddenly see all the ghosts that haunt her land. It's fun. It's like a workplace sitcom for ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fun. I think it's streaming on Paramount Plus, but despite that, you should still watch it. Wow, here we are at the end of the episode. Jason, thanks so much for joining us for, like, I feel like we're on the up ramp, you know, when the roller coaster is like...
Chugga, woo! Down.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we love to have you on the show. And Andrew, thank you for being my trusty co-pilot.
As always.
Well,
I feel like I should have said something
time.
after that. That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh,
No,
well.
it's okay.
Push through it. Push through it.
You can do this. We believe in you. Don't even think about
And
the other
that's
books.
the end of the episode. That's the end of the episode. That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to the Restricted Section. This podcast is produced and hosted by me, Christina Kahn. Our theme music was produced by Ryan Kahn. Our logo was designed by Michael Hardison. Please connect with us on Twitter at RestrictedPod, on Instagram at RestrictedSectionPod, on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod, or in our Facebook group, the Restricted Section Detention Crew. Join our Patreon to get access to our Discord server, our bonus episodes, and other cool perks. We're also very happy to be a member of Deus Ex Media, where all you fucking nerds can find all kinds of fandom podcasts to suit your fancy.
Do you love to be super scared? Do you enjoy listening to hilarious hot takes on timeless classics? Well, fear not, listeners. I'm here. Welcome to the Super Scary Podcast, where we cover everything from the supernatural to the superpowered. I'm your host, Josh, a scaredy cat nerd who enjoys superhero, sci-fi, and horror movies way too much. Whether I'm processing my trauma from Texas Chainsaw Massacre or reminiscing on the nostalgia of Hocus Pocus, my guests and I have a hilarious time going through our favorite and sometimes not so favorite moments. I'm your friend till the end, listeners, because everyone's entitled to one super scary podcast. We post weekly episodes on Mondays, and you can find us at Super Scary Podcast on all the socials. See you in the afterlife, listeners.
Oh my god. I feel like we've been on chapter 32 forever.
Deus Ex Media.